Hello, everyone. Today I have the honor of speaking to Catherine Gacad, who's a banking executive, board member, and corporate advisor for over 2 decades. We're going to cover a topic of fintech and banking partnerships. Today, more than ever, banks and fintechs are merging. There's a lot of partnership and collaboration that it's mutually beneficial for both parties. So we want to cover all of that. With that, Catherine, how about you start by telling us a little bit about your background and why you're passionate about this topic.
Sure. Well, hello, everyone, and thanks, Donna, for having me. My name is Catherine Gacad. I'm an advisor to startups, including Valid Systems. I'm actually a veteran of this space. I spent 17 years at Wells Fargo and most recently at Fintech startup Airbase, where I led the bank partnerships with American Express and Silicon Valley Bank. And I'm really excited to talk to you today about a topic that's near and dear to my heart, bank and fintech partnerships. And so, Donna, if you don't mind, let me kind of continue and talk about, why is this important?
Of course.
Why is this relevant today? And it's because we're seeing rapid innovation in how financial services are being offered, particularly in the speed, right? The pace at which we're seeing this technology come at us, and also the volume. We're seeing a lot of new technology driven by a lot of growth. And if I can throw a stat out there, research from McKinsey shows that revenue is going to be 3 times the revenue from the fintech space is going to be 3 times the revenue of traditional banking over a 5-year period from 2023 to 2028. That's a lot of growth. And at the core of this transformation is the partnerships between banks and fintech.
For sure. Yeah, that's quite significant. I know you've been on both sides, both fintech and major banks like Wells Fargo. Can you paint a picture of current state of affairs between the two parties, fintechs and banks, and how the collaboration and partnership over time evolved throughout your career?
Sure. So let me, Donna, first start by kind of defining what we mean by bank fintech partnerships. I know it might seem pretty obvious and straightforward, but essentially these are strategic alliances between banks and fintechs, right? Banks are teaming up with technology-driven financial service providers. And the goal is to combine the strengths of both parties, right? You've got the established infrastructure and regulatory compliance of banks with the cutting-edge technology and agility of fintech startups. So that's kind of the definition. And then how has this evolved? Well, the evolution has been actually pretty remarkable over the past decade. Initially banks were, seeing fintechs as threats, as competitors.
For sure.
But as digital transformation accelerated, especially during the pandemic, that view kind of shifted from banks kind of seeing fintechs not just as suppliers and investment opportunities, but as collaborators and real partners. And if I can throw another stat out there, a Gartner report shared that there's an average of 9.4 fintech partnerships per bank. So we've clearly evolved from kind of tiptoeing around each other to how do we integrate?
Wow, so 9 fintechs per bank.
9.4 fintech partnerships per bank on average.
That's awesome. Yeah, here at Valid, we have a product called RTLA, which is real-time loss alert, where at the point of deposit, we run a model to check for cases of fraud and charge-off loss. And one of the top 5 banks from asset size, they adopted that solution. And right after the adoption, the next quarter, their check fraud loss dropped by 73%. So that was quite significant. And that's just the loss savings. With that, of course, it comes manual review, time savings that from operational point of view, there are a lot of productivity gains that they get from that partnership with us.
Amazing. Love it.
So in your opinion, between fintechs and banks, who benefits more from these partnerships?
Oh, Donna, it's all of the above. All of the above. So, bank fintech partnerships create value across the financial ecosystem, right? So consumers benefit from streamlined processes. Typically, there's going to be lower costs and not just a better user experience, but if you think about it, that experience is going to be more personalized. It's going to be intuitive. It's going to provide more insights. Now, banks benefit from cutting edge technology, like you just talked about, right? So AI, data analytics, mobile technology, and while fintechs get access to vast amount of data and regulatory know-how. So for banks, also, fintech partnerships can open doors to new customer segments or product lines they might not have reached on their own. Sure. And vice versa. For fintechs, banks provide access to pretty loyal, sticky customer base that otherwise might not have had any clue about this new technology. And when you execute these partnerships effectively, they have the potential to create what we say, like a win-win-win. And it's a win-win-win for banks, fintechs, and consumers. And that leads to lots of great things, right? Greater financial inclusion and economic growth.
For sure. So historically, banks and fintechs culturally, and when you think about speed, agility, they don't necessarily get along. What are the challenges, in your opinion, that both parties have to go through and overcome in order to guarantee a successful collaboration and partnership?
Yeah, Donna, you're absolutely right. Banks and startups operate almost in very different worlds, and these differences can be problematic when trying to partner. And based on what I've seen firsthand, I can highlight a few of these challenges. Again, this isn't an exhaustive list. I only have 3, but the main ones. 1, regulatory compliance is huge. So banks operate in a heavily regulated environment, which can be unfamiliar and challenging for startups to deal with. 2, there are going to be cultural differences, like you mentioned. Banks are known to be conservative. They are risk averse, while fintechs are encouraged to move fast. And if you need to, fail fast, right?
For sure.
And then 3, technology integration. So banks, they rely on legacy systems that can be really difficult to integrate with what fintechs are used to in terms of like modern infrastructure. So overcoming these challenges requires focus on a shared vision, clear communication, and a lot of flexibility and agility. And just going back to like what makes a successful partnership, they involve dedicated teams that can leverage both the strengths and also to be able to navigate these differences that I just mentioned.
For sure. Yeah, I can attest to that. I've been on both sides, and I think a lot of us at Valid, we have that level of empathy for the legacy systems that bring the speed down within the bank ecosystem. So here at Valid, we try to be super flexible in terms of the handshakes and data exchanges. If it's SDK, it's SDK. If API is available, we work with that. And also you mentioned a great point about regulatory measures that are in place. So we do our best for a small company to get ahead of all of those measures and protocols that it's related to data handling, privacy issues, pass all of the necessary audits like SOC audit to stay ahead of the curve with that. So
yeah, and Donna, if I can add to what you just said, also Valid has been doing this for a long time.
For sure.
Right. And they are also integrated with the top banks. So that's, that makes it the partnerships a lot smoother.
Absolutely.
You've seen a lot of these challenges and dealt with them.
Absolutely. So Catherine, you've been in both shoes. What is success when it comes to bank and fintech partnerships, in your opinion?
Great question, Donna. I wish I had a recipe that I could just share with you. I think what's especially important, and I sort of alluded to this, but what's especially important for banks, particularly the largest banks, is proof, right? Proof that the fintech is mature and can scale. And if you can do that, that shows less risk for the bank getting involved in this partnership. So fintechs need to be very clear on the ROI from partnering with a bank versus the bank just spending their own time, resources, and money to build this in-house, which is absolutely an option. So this is a message to startups. The onus is on the startup and the fintech to do the homework and assess the trade-offs between build versus partner, and keep asking, how can I build trust? How can I ensure security? How do I maintain the confidence of my stakeholders? What do they need to see, right? And this goes back to, is there a clear alignment of goals and objectives? Is there a shared vision for the partnership? And what are the KPIs, right? Let's track the KPIs. Let's monitor, let's assess, and adapt where we need to. And once you lock into that vision, you absolutely need strong leadership from both sides. The most successful partnerships aren't just about telling a bunch of people, okay, you need to work together and we're going to, mesh these technologies. It's about creating synergy that's going to drive innovation and transformation in the ecosystem.
100%. Well, thank you so much for your time, Catherine. Thank you for sharing those insights.
Delighted to be here. Thanks so much, Donna.